Okay, just bear with me for a second because when I decided to do rebuild in Barcelona, I just thought it's going to be the last rebuild of FM24. So I want it to be something fun where I can spend money and get some world class players in, pretty much like I did at Manchester United. And the rebuild would be that we dominate Spanish football and even European football. Then I saw what the finances were like and what the squad looks like. And while it's still going to be fun, I think it's going to be a different kind of fun. Welcome to the video, everybody. And like I said in the intro, this is going to be the final rebuild of FM24. It will take us all the way through September. And yeah, like I said, I thought it'd be fun to rebuild a team that we can get to dominate a league, dominate a nation, dominate Europe, all that sort of stuff. Spend money getting players that I've not really been able to get in because I've spent so much time in the lower leagues of various different countries in this year's game. And then when I loaded this up, I had a look at the finances, and we'll get to that very shortly. And yeah, I kind of realised that it's not going to be like that, at least not to begin with. We are at Barcelona. I was about to say we are at the Camp Nou, but we're not. We're at the Estadi Olympic Louis Companies. Yep, never heard of that stadium. Apparently it's in good condition, it has a capacity of 56,000. They're renovating the new camp at the moment, aren't they? So if we have planned infrastructure changes due to move into the 99,350, I mean, that's a bit annoying, isn't it? Why wouldn't you just make it 100,000? Capacity Camp Nou on the 1st December 2024. Okay, so that's what, a season and a half we have to play in this new stadium. We have top corporate facilities, superb training facilities, superb youth facilities, exceptional academy coaching and exceptional youth recruitment. So I'm hoping we get some really decent youth intakes during the course of these 5 seasons. We'll have a look at the Dev Centre first, but let's have a look at the finances. And we have £2.1 million in the transfer budget. We are playing on the original FM mode, so all the transfers that would have been made in the for the start of the 23-24 season have already been made. This is what we're left with. Our wage budget, however, we are currently about £30,000 over our wage budget, and we can't make any more alterations to it. So we do have a wage budget of 3.2 million, which is a massive wage budget. The fact that we're overspent on that goes to show what we're basically spending. The worrying thing is next season's minimum guaranteed wage budget will be 1.31 million. We're £30.4 million in debt in terms of our bank balance. If we have a look at debts and loans, I'm actually scared to press the button for this one. Oh, wow. £655.8 million net debt with a £70.7 million transfer debt. Remember that number, because I don't want you guys thinking that I've made us more in debt with transfers than what we already are. 70.7 million. Wow. Okay. If we go to our inbox quickly, this is the supporter profile update. The supporters' influence on the board is moderate, 3 stars, 59.2 social media followers, 50,000 season ticket holders, and 96,502 on the waiting list. Presumably that will get reduced significantly when we move in to the Camp Nou. Challenge for the first division title. Okay, so the supporters are not asking us to win it. They're just asking us to challenge for it. Play attacking football, play entertaining football, play possession football, develop players using the club's youth system. I already said I want to do that. Play high tempo pressing football, forge a higher reputation than Real Madrid. Get the better of our rivals Espanyol if we happen to play against them. In terms of our support profile, 5% is hardcore, 23% is our core, 22% family, 20% fair weather, 4% corporate, and 26% are casual. In terms of the club's expectations, play attacking, possessing, entertaining football, sign high reputation players, work within the wage budget, reach the latter stages of the UEFA Champions League, win the first division. We could end up getting sacked as part of a rebuild. That's not happened to me so far, but that is possible. Challenge for the Spanish Cup, be competitive in the Super Cup, work towards becoming the most reputable team in Europe. We'll just accept that. We're not going to bother negotiating it. Players in the last year of their contracts, Marcos Alonso, he's really not good enough. Sergi Roberto, he's not good enough. Chadi Riyad, a 20-year-old centre-back that, I mean, he has a 1-year extension if we want to do that. And Nico Takahashi. I feel like I'm back in Japan with Tokyo and Fukushima now. Right, so, yeah, that we could try and move these players on. I mean, basically, what I will say, we'll get to the tactics shortly. What I will say is that anybody in my squad is pretty much for sale. Our starting, or our entire squad, I plan will look a hell of a lot different by the time we get to the end of the rebuild. If we have a look at the transfer history, oh, wow, okay, look at all these players we sold. I mean, the vast majority have gone out on loan. I mean, look at all these players on loan that are going to be coming back to the club. So, oh my word, we've got Eric Garcia is at Girona. I presume they're all on 1-year loan deals. But Eric Garcia, who is not particularly great. I mean, to be honest, attribute-wise, he's not bad. As a squad player, he'd probably be okay. How much would he normally be on? 49,500. Then we've got Sergino Dest. I mean, he used to be a really decent player in this game. As a, someone who can play left and right. I wouldn't actually mind having him here. He's got good great acceleration, good pace. He can cross the ball and dribble as well. As an attacking fullback for me, or attacking wingback, he could actually be fairly decent for us. Ansu Fati, I mean, he was a wonder kid many years ago. He still has 5-star potential. I mean, look his attributes in game, and he's not here. He's at Brighton. I know in real life at Brighton it never really worked out for him, but he's on 200 grand a week as well. That is madness. Julian Araujo, he's out on loan as well. Again, he's as a right back, he's got some decent attributes about him. Clement Lenglet is at Aston Villa, 28 years old. Again, he's just really a squad player. Pablo Torre, never heard of him. He's at Girona. He's got 5-star potential, 20 years old. I mean, again, he looks really decent. He's got some really good attributes. And why have they just got rid of or sent all these players out on loan? Chadi Riyad is another one. I mean, I'm not going to go through every single one. They've gone forever and ever. But Alex Valla, Estanis Pedrola, Ruben Cantero, Seydou Bar, Joseph Serda. It's mad. Money they've bought players in for. Ez Adbi has gone to Real Hispalis for £6.5 million. 10.75 has come in for Frank Kessie. I remember having him in FM probably 3 or 4 years ago. I had him at my Arsenal team. He was a monster in midfield. He was playing the box-to-box midfielder role, and he would just score goals for fun. His long shots was immense. It's obviously been reduced a lot these days, but even looking at him there, he looks a really good player. But he's gone to Saudi Arabia. Francisco Trincao, 6 million. Again, he's another one that back in the day, a few years ago, used to be a really good wonder kid in FM. Coming to Barcelona obviously ruins you. We spent £1.3 million on Mika Faye. Why? 2 to 3 star potential. He's absolute bobbins. Why have we spent money on him? Ilkay Gundogan is coming on a free. Ingo Martinez is coming on a free as well. We've brought in a 32-year-old who's not particularly all that good. I mean, saying that, his attributes actually look quite decent. Centre-back, he's 6 foot, really good long shots. I mean, he is good, I suppose. When you look at him, when you look at his attributes, he does look a lot better than what his star rating would suggest. Then Trilly we bought in for 170,000, who is absolute rubbish and is in our B team. I mean, you bought him in, you're spending £2,500 a week on him. Why? Diego Percan has come in as well. He's absolute rubbish as well. Vita Roque has come in from ATP for nearly 40 million, £34.5 million. 5-star potential, 18-year-old Brazilian striker. He's not a wonder kid, but he's not far off it. And yeah, 5-star potential. He's okay. Don't mind having him here. Then 43k on Gerard Martin, who is rubbish in our B team. Why are we spending this money? Where is the logic in this? Noah Darvic has come in from Freiburg for 2.1 million, a 16-year-old German, 4.5 star potential. Okay, fair enough. I can see why you'd bring him in. And then we've got a load of players in on loan. João Felix, João Cancelo. I mean, why have we got all these players here on loan? Emen Cospo. No, he's... Oh. Right, let's have a look at our squad, because I need to come up with a tactic for this. Let's filter it by position. So we've got 2 goalkeepers. Inaki Pina is obviously going to be our backup goalkeeper. Marc-Andre ter Stegen will be our first one. We've got some centre-backs. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. With 6 centre-backs, it's kind of looking at a 3 at the back formation, but they're not all particularly good. I mean, to be fair, not many of them are that good. Right backs, we've got a few of those, a couple of those. I mean, I actually thinking about... Right, what I do need to do is I need to get rid of the ones that are out on loan, because I don't need those. So let's move those to the under-19 squad for now, because this is just going to confuse me as to exactly what we've got. He's in on loan, so Gino Dest is out. I mean, this is madness. How can a team have this amount of players out on loan? I mean, this is another Chelsea, I'm telling you. Right, so our actual squad is 23. So when you look at it like that, we've not actually got that big of a squad. So we will have to go into the dev centre for some players. So, yeah, it's no longer looking like a 3 at the back formation. It's probably looking like a 4-2-3-1, if we're being completely honest. Frankie, I mean, midfield, we've got some pretty decent midfielders. Frankie de Jong, Romeo, Gundogan, Pedri, Gavi. I mean, oh, we've got Lamine Yamal. Oh, we've got Lamine Yamal. We build the team around him, surely. 15 years old, 2-star current ability, 5-star potential. We build this team around him, surely. He prefers to play on the right-hand side, can do the inside forward role. Lovely, lovely stuff. Then you have the likes of, I mean, João Felix. In game, he does actually look pretty decent. I've got to get my opinion of the real life version of him out my head. He could play over on the left, but he prefers to play on the right. If we then look at Rafinha, he prefers to play on the right, can play on the left as an inside forward as well. Got some good acceleration and pace. Right, I'm going to go and develop a couple of tactics, and I'll bring you back once I've developed it. Okay, so this is the tactic that I've come up with. It's a tiki-taka 4-3-3. And the players that I've got for this system: ter Stegen in goal, Baldo left back, Cancelo right back, Koundé and Araujo in the centre of defence, Gundogan, Pedri and De Jong in the centre of midfield. We've got a ball-winning midfielder here. I'd like to have an anchor, but Gundogan, none of them really suit an anchor role. So we're going with a ball-winning midfielder. Deep line playmaker. I might actually change that to a box-to-box midfielder, because I don't want to have 2 playmakers next to each other in midfield. I don't mind if you've got a deep line playmaker here and an advanced playmaker up there, but I don't really want them both being playmakers next to each other. Frankie de Jong is our advanced playmaker. Lamine Yamal and Rafinha right and left for our inside forwards, with Lewandowski up top. I'm assuming at his age, Lewandowski's as slow as a snail. Well, actually, to be fair, well, his attribute-wise, he looks phenomenal. He's still 4.5 star. I mean, how many goals did he score? Like 23 goals in 34 appearances last season for Barcelona. He should still be a goal machine. And then our bench is basically the rest of our squad. And if we look at this one, we've got a 4-2-3-1 gegenpress sitting there should we need it. But this is probably the one that I am going to stick with, at least for the time being. I'll set up set pieces the way I usually do. If you've watched my videos in the past, you'll know how I set up set pieces. I aim for the near post in swingers, and we are hybrid and balanced and all that sort of stuff. Right, that's what we've got here. So basically, if anyone comes in for an offer for any of my players, I'm pretty much prepared to accept it for most of them. The ones that like Pedri, Gavi, Firmin, Yamal, all the really highly rated ones, I'm unlikely to accept offers for them. I mean, Lamine Yamal, for example, is on £55 a week. I don't believe that that is what he's on in real life. I'm sorry, I cannot believe that he's only on 55 quid a week in real life. Right, let's have a look at our dev centre and see what that looks like. We've got a very strong under 19s. Well, that's probably because I've just moved a load of players into there. But we filter it by potential. We've got Hector Fort, who can do anywhere across the defensive line, prefers to be a right back. Actually looks like he could be fairly decent. He's got 5-star potential. He's not classed as a wonder kid, but 16 years old, he does look very decent actually. Then we got these guys that are out on loan that we will welcome them back next season without a doubt. Pau Kubasi is in here. Now, he's actually a really good player in FM. I've seen him go on to be pretty decent in a lot of people's saves. I've had him in one of my previous teams. I don't know if it was Kaiserslautern or somewhere like that. And yeah, I think I might leave him in the under 19s for this season and then look at bringing him in. Noah Darvic is another one that we was looking at earlier. He would play here as an advanced playmaker. If I ever had a Mazzala, he'd play as a Mazzala as well. For those of you watching my unemployed journeyman save with AS Monaco, which is out Monday to Friday, by the way, cheap plug. In my midfield three, I have an anchor at the base with a Mazzala and advanced playmaker ahead of him, and it seems to work really well. And I'd like to get that here, but I need to have someone that is able to play as an anchor. So that might be something we look at a player to bring in at some point in the future when we have some money. But yeah, other than that, there's not really a great deal here. I mean, we got plenty of attacking talent, but the first real midfielder we have is Mark Bernal, defensive midfielder. Now, he probably could play an anchor, but again, he's only 1 star for that. Oh, it's not a great squad, I've got to say. It really is a bit concerning. If we have a look at dynamics, team cohesion is average, managerial support is average, club atmosphere is good. So yeah, this is how we're looking at the moment in terms of our tactic. Have we had fixtures come in yet? Yes, we have. So we've got Besiktas in a Roberto testimonial. Then we've got Elche, Paris FC, Reims and PSG. Why are we playing PSG in a friendly? Let's cancel that one. I don't want PSG in a friendly. Let's have a look at arranging some friendlies ourselves. So first league game of the season is at home against Atletico Madrid. What a first game of the season that is. So we'll arrange multiple friendlies. We'll look at one here and one there a week beforehand. So we'll arrange 2 friendlies. And we'll go with smaller reputation. Coruña, yep, we'll have those. And in this, Las Palmas in their 3-star reputation teams should provide decent enough competition for us. And yeah, I'd rather that than playing a game against PSG, which we could well lose and morale gets affected and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's where we are with the schedule. So yeah, we play Atletico Madrid, Athletic Bilbao, Valencia, Vallecano and Almeria as their first 5 games of the season. When do we play? We've got Las Palmas here. When do we play Real Madrid? That is the question. We play them on the 26th of November. They must be close to the halfway stage, yeah. So the final 5 will be Real San Sebastian, Villarreal, Vigo, Mallorca and Real Hispalis. So that is how we're looking in that. Let's have a look at the season preview. Not that I pay too much attention to it, but we're expected to finish second behind Real Madrid. I think the board would accept that. I mean, they do want us to win it, let's be honest. But I think they would, at a push, accept second as long as we're not too far behind. We've cancelled the friendly there. There's work to do on the staffing department. We need 2 physios and 2 sports scientists. We need a technical director. We need 7 scouts. So if we get the recruitment analyst put out for advert, then we can get the technical director put out for advert. We'll look at sports scientists and physios myself. We need an assistant manager. I've already put in an offer for an assistant manager. We need 4 coaches as well and a performance analyst. So we'll do that, and we'll go for. We do need a goalkeeping coach. Probably need 2 of them actually. We need a fitness coach and we need a normal coach. Right, that looks good enough for now. I think what I'll do is I'm going to probably now bring you back. So if we look at the training schedule, for those of you that never watched a rebuild that I've done in the past, what we tend to do is we do a little intro at the beginning, then I bring you in at the once the transfer window closes, so basically after the game against Valencia and before the game against Vallecano. So the next time you see me will most likely be after the game against Valencia. I doubt we're going to make many signings unless we get some outgoings happening. And yeah, that will be part 1 of the video. Part 2 will then be once the January transfer window is closed, so it'll be around the game against Vallecano again. And then part 3 of the video will be after the season's finished for an end of season review and a little discussion about what our plans are for the following season. So I have no idea what this squad's going to look like by the time the transfer window closes. So it'll be as much of a surprise to you as it will be for me. Okay, so we're on the squad registration screen. It's 29th of July. So we're not at the point I was planning on coming back. But something unusual that I've noticed in the squad registration rules for La Liga is that your maximum squad salary is £2.7 million per week. So when you're actually registering players, you have to bear in mind how much they're earning, which kind of makes sense when you look at real life at the moment and that Barcelona are struggling to get players registered for La Liga, and like Dani Olmo, for example, who they've signed. And this would probably be the reason why, because if their starting squad is going to be over 2.7 million, then yeah, you are going to struggle to get them registered. But what doesn't help, it tells you whether you're achieving it or not with the tick or not, but it doesn't actually tell you how far you are away from it. So, you know, how much have you got left in the bank effectively. And so that kind of, I think, would need to change. You know, Sports Interactive, if you're watching, doubt you are, but you know, you never know. So you can only have a maximum of 3 non-EU players, which is fine. You get that in quite a few leagues. We've had that recently in France, where you can only have 4 non-EU players. The maximum of 23 outfield players. So there's no minimum for goal or number for goalkeepers, whereas a lot of time it will say you must have a minimum of 3 goalkeepers or something like that. But it does say maximum of 23 outfield players, which at the moment we've got 20. Now, that says they're 2.7 million. So if I was to unregister João Cancelo, so that does tell you how much you've got. So basically with João Cancelo, that takes up to the limit of 2.7 million. If we was to try to register Yamal, which we don't need to do because he's an under-19 player, but if we tried to register him, so that would take us to 2.71, but still lets us do it. That's quite confusing. Maximum squad size of 25 players, but obviously 23 of them, no more than 23. So in a way, they are restricting you to only 2 goalkeepers, I guess, and a maximum squad or minimum squad size of 15. So yeah, just thought I'd show you this because I think it's quite interesting with the different squad registration rules you have. That one I think is fascinating. So if we was to bring in another player, because technically we can fit 1 more player into this squad, but would it also take them above the 2.7? Let's try with our under-19s a minute. And so we've got Pau Kabasi here. He's only on £700 a week. Need to try and find someone that's on a nice, handsome amount of money. Eamon Cosbo, no, he's only £700 a week as well. Who can I use? Guillem Victor, he's only for. I don't think we're going to be able to use anyone as an example, to be honest. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if you can go up to 2.79, for example, because it will let us go to 2.71. So yeah, I just thought that was fairly interesting. Well, we've registered our squad anyway. Just to bring you up to speed on how pre-season is going, it's going quite well. We played a testimonial against Besiktas and beat them 3-0 in that game. Cancelo, Lewandowski and Vitor Roque scoring in that game. Then we played Elche, won 3-2 with Robert Lewandowski getting a hat-trick. Then we played Paris FC, a 4-2 win in that game with Lewandowski getting all four in that game. And we're about to play Reims today in game. Bit concerned that we're conceding so many goals, but at least Lewandowski's getting on the score sheet. That has got to be a bonus. Right, I'm going to carry on moving through the game and I'll see you when the transfer window has closed. Right, here we are, and no more transfers in or out other than what was done before I arrived. So it's been a very low-key transfer window as far as I'm concerned. Although, that being said, I never actually had any plans on selling anybody just yet. I think we can try and make do with the squad the best we can for this season. That includes January as well. And then the rebuild can happen for proper starting in next summer's transfer window. In terms of staffing, though, I have been very busy. These were already gone before I arrived, but all of these I've brought in myself. And there has been a lot of staff names coming in. If we actually, are we able to find out this way how many I brought in? 22 people, there you go. And there has been some English names in there as well, just to help me feel a little bit at home, having a few people that speak the same language as me around. You know, I've got to have some friends at the club, because I'll tell you who are not my friends, and that's the players. If we have a look at the hierarchy, I'm not sure what it is now, but yeah, there you go. 15 players oppose me. Nobody supports me, and 8 have no real opinion of me. Quite what I've done to have 15 people oppose me, I don't know, but 2 of my 3 team leaders basically don't want me here. So I've got an uphill struggle trying to get this team on board. If we have a look at the finances, we are £22 million in debt. We was like, there you go. I mean, that's 235 million in the red. We weren't that bad. We was about 25 million at the start of this episode. We then got it down to almost break even, purely because the club decided to take out yet another loan. It was a £25 million loan. There you go, £25.5 million loan to consolidate some of their debts. So they now have a net debt of 654 million. Their original debt, 1.19 billion. I mean, I feel like that character off Austin Myers. It's just, it's phenomenal. And this is going to go on for years and years and years. They're paying all this off, like £8.75 million a month they're paying off, up until 2033, really. And the transfer debt has come down. That was 70 million. That's now 65 million. So, you know, looking a bit better. In terms of the schedule, we have been playing some games. Let's have a look at what we've been doing. We started off the season against Atletico Madrid at home, a 2-2 draw against them. This is a team we started off with. We did go 1-0 up with Frankie de Jong. Then Axel Witsel got a penalty 3 minutes later. Then Lamine Yamal put us 2-1 up on the 64th minute, and then Memphis Depay again 3 minutes later, making it 2-2. In terms of the actual match itself, we should have won the match. We were the better team, much better XG, more possession, better passes complete, more shots on target, more shots on goal. It's a lovely little tactic that we've got, but that was quite frustrating. Then we played Athletic Bilbao, or Athletic Club, and yeah, beat them 4-0. That was a very comfortable win. Again, we were the much better team. Pedri picked up an injury, kept him out for a few weeks, but goals from Frankie de Jong, Rafinha and Lamine Yamal. 3 goals in the first 6 minutes of the game. And it was pretty much over from that. And then Robert Lewandowski got a penalty in the 30th minute. Rafinha had a beautiful goal from a direct free kick. Not often you see those, so it was nice to see that. Then Valencia, we won 2-0 with goals in this game from Balde and Torres. Gavi and Torres getting on the assist. And again, we were very dominant. They didn't even have a shot on target. Much better XG. 75% possession. The one thing I will say for our little tiki-taka formation we've got going on, or tactic we've got, is that we are dominating possession against the teams that we've played so far. And when we have a look at the schedule, that was actually quite a tough start to the season with them three teams. We've got Vallecano next, Almeria, then we've got Lons in the Champions League, Atletico Pamplona, Las Palmas and Cadiz. These are all highly winnable games. I'll actually be disappointed if we don't win all of those. But in terms of our Champions League draw, I'll show you that now. It's very strange seeing the Champions League in its original group format here, because obviously as of next season in game, it goes to that big long group. And because I have not really done any saves where I start off in this group, so I think Man United was the last one we've done on a rebuild. Certainly not been like it for any of the series that I've done, like Bottoms Up or The Unemployed Journeyman. But yeah, seeing as we've got Lons, Borussia Dortmund and PSV, with how good we are, I would expect to win this group and win it comfortably. Not going to be too confident because I don't want to be overconfident, but Lons at home, then we've got the two difficult away games, and then the second half of that is pretty nice, actually, to be honest. Right, that is pretty much all there is to bring you for this part of the video. We'll move into part 2 of the video, where you will join me just around here on the 4th of February, just before we play Vallecano again. And I'll have an update on how the season has gone so far, any business in the January transfer window, which again, I doubt there's going to be a great deal. Looking at dynamics, average team cohesion, very good club atmosphere, average but still in the red for managerial support. Need to get that up as much as possible, as well as obviously the team cohesion. And yeah, that'll be it for this part of the video. I'll meet you over in part 2, and let's see how we've gone for the first half or so of the season. So here we are for part 2, and this is our competition screen. And in terms of the league, we're having a really good season all over, really. We did lose in the final of the Spanish Super Cup. It's very weird because when I was doing the rebuild with Sampdoria, if you remember, the Super Cup was taking part in Saudi Arabia. And it's the same with the Super Cup in Spain as well. That was taking part in Saudi Arabia too. So very odd how some of these countries kind of contract out their Spanish Super Cup to Saudi Arabia. We did win a semi-final against Atletico Pamplona, but yeah, lost in the final in heartbreaking fashion, I've got to say, to Real Madrid. Not that we're really that fussed about the Super Cup. It's not important to the club. Anyway, in terms of the Spanish Cup, the board want us to reach the semi-final. We're on course for it. We are in the quarterfinals. We've been drawn against Atletico Madrid. I would have preferred to be drawn against Ibiza or Valladolid, but no, Atletico Madrid is what we've got. At least we avoided Real Madrid. In the Champions League, we're through to the round of 16. We play Rangers in the next round. I think we were quite lucky with our draw for the round of 16 of the Champions League. And in terms of the Spanish First Division, La Liga, as it's known to the rest of us, 22 games in. Real Madrid do have a game in hand, but we are 6 points ahead of Real Madrid. 16 wins, 6 draws, no defeats in the league so far. Rafinha is their top scorer on 9 goals in La Liga. And I think what we'll do is, before we go to the schedule and show you the results we've had, we'll go to the transfer market or the transfer screen, because we've had a big player leave. And that big player, where is he? Where's he gone? Oh, he's over this side, isn't it? Robert Lewandowski. There you go. He's gone to Al Ittihad for 8.75 million, raising to 9.75 million. In one way, I didn't want to let him go because even though he's 35 years old, he is fantastic. And he was our top scorer. If we have a look on here, 20 appearances, 11 goals, 1 assist, 1 player of the match award at 7.01. In all competitions, 26 appearances, 8 of those from the subs bench, 16 goals and 2 assists at an overall rating of 7.07. He was their top scorer. He was doing really well for us. But Al Ittihad came in with this bid. We were never going to get a great deal of money for him anyway because of his age. And he was on £300,000 a week. He's actually on £1.3 million per week. I mean, how is anybody meant to compete with Saudi Arabia if the player just wants money? And I can't blame Lewandowski on as 35 years of age thinking, do you know what? I'll go there for a couple of years, £1.3 million a week. He's going to earn over £100 million over those 2 years. That is just mad. It really is that you will earn that much in a couple of years. But yeah, he's gone. There has been a couple of other players that have left. They're not shown on here for some reason. Maybe they're leaving in January. Oh, there you go. So we've got no, that's one coming in. Where have they gone? Why is no one showing on here? I'm very confused. We've had a couple of players that have left. I mean, don't get me wrong, they've not been for much money. But I just don't know why they're not on here. Are they on future transfers? No. Okay, no idea. In terms of the finance, I hope you're ready for this. Make sure you're sitting down. We are £119 million in the red. A transfer budget only says 2.1 million, so we only get 25% of the transfer revenue that's made available. So in terms of selling players in the summer transfer window, I'm a bit hesitant to do it because we're only going to get a quarter of the transfer fee. So if we sell someone for 50 million, we're only going to get 25% of that. And I just think that is madness. I really do. You know, that's going to be what, £12.5 million if we sell something for 50 million. We are under the budget for wages, so that's looking good. In terms of our youth preview, or youth, oh, where did I go? Okay, the game is playing up big time. Right, so in terms of the youth intake, it's meant to be a good intake, 4 stars. Wingers, strikers are looking promising. Centre backs, meh, and then forget everything else basically. I will say out of this, we'll probably get one player that's going to be 4 to 4.5 stars. We'll get another couple that are going to be 3.5 to 4 stars, and the rest of them will just be rubbish and naff, quite honestly. Right, in terms of the schedule, let's have a look at it. So, since you were last with us, you knew about these 3 games here. We went on and beat Vallecano 3-0 in that game. We then played Almira and won 3-1. Then came Lons in their first Champions League game and we beat them 2-0. Atletico Pamplona in the league, we won 5-2. Las Palmas in the league, we won 5-1. We are scoring goals. Cadiz in the league, we won 3-0. Then came the next Champions League game against Borussia Dortmund. That was a tight 1-0 win in that game. Then we had Getafe, a 1-0 win in that game as well. Granada was a 2-0 win. Some tight games going on here. Then PSV Eindhoven, we drew 1-1 in the Champions League against them. Girona in the league was a 0-0 draw at home. Alaves in the league was a 1-0 win. As you see, this whole area here, we were struggling to score goals, quite honestly. So yeah, Alaves 1-0, PSV 1-0 win at home in the Champions League. Then Sevilla at home in La Liga, a 3-0 win. Real Madrid were up next and a 0-0 draw in that game. Baffles me how you're able to draw 0-0 with Real Madrid when you consider it's Barcelona and Real Madrid, the volume of attacking intent that's in them 2 teams. Then we had the return game against RC Lens, a 2-2 draw in that one. Real San Sebastian followed with a 1-0 win at home in the league. Then we started scoring a few goals, which is a bit more pleasurable for me anyway. Villarreal away from home, a 4-2 win. Robert Lewandowski, Ronald Araujo, Vitor Roque and Frankie de Jong. Then we had Vigo at home in the league, a 4-1 win. Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League group stage. As you can see, we fielded pretty much a fully rotated side, with the exception of maybe the goalkeeper. A 2-1 win in that game. We then beat Mallorca 2-1 away from home. Then came Athletic Bilbao, a 1-1 draw in that one. A 2-2 draw against Atletico Madrid. Then we had the Spanish Super Cup against Atletico Pamplona. A 4-1 win, Pedri, Vitor Roque, an own goal, and João Felix. Then Real Madrid in the Super Cup final. And this was heartbreaking because we were 1-0 up through Frankie de Jong in the 6th minute. And then Jude Bellingham equalised. I thought we'd won this game by this point. Jude Bellingham then equalised in the 96th minute of the game. And then Rodrigo with two goals in 4 minutes made it 3-1. Ferran Torres did get us back into it to 3-2, but we lost in extra time. Then came the Spanish Cup third round. We've had a nice run in the third and fourth round. We played Peña Independent. Never heard of them, but okay. A 5-0 win in that game. As you can see, a very rotated team again. Then we played Real Hispales in La Liga, a 5-2 win in that game. Valencia were up next in La Liga, 1-1 the draw in that one. And then we had Tarazona, again, never heard of them, in the Spanish Cup fourth round, and we win 3-1 in that game. João Felix getting a couple of goals for us there. Which brings us to where we are now. Vallecano are next. Then we've got Atletico Madrid in the Spanish Cup quarter-final. Then Almeria, Pamplona, Rangers, we're back to where we was here, where we have a really nice run of games. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to playing them games because we should be getting some nice wins. In terms of dynamics and whatever else, the managerial support remains average, but it's slightly green. Club atmosphere is excellent. Team cohesion is good. We have got some issues with players wanting to leave. So Sergio Roberto wanted to leave to join Chelsea. They offered me, I think it was £8 million for him. I rejected it. He then told me he wasn't happy, and we've agreed that if Chelsea or any team come in with an offer of £11.75 million or more, then he can leave. Frenkie de Jong, we had an offer from PSG for him. The offer for him was about, 38 million, I think it was. At the time, he had a value of 66 million, and I wasn't going to be accepting an offer of 38 or 36, whatever it was, million pound. It was massively under our valuation of him. He then wasn't happy. He came and had a chat with me. We discussed it, and he agreed that if someone comes in for £78 million, he can go. I'll be happy with that. He's another one that's on like £230,000 a week. And Vitor Roque came to us quite early on in the season. He wasn't happy with his playing time, so we've agreed to play him more often. I don't know what this is about. Wants to go out on loan to help secure a permanent move, because last I heard he was actually quite happy, and we've got no items in our inbox here. Shane Clivert, by the way, and I did check if he is related, and he is. His dad is Patrick Clivert, and his brother's with Justin Clivert. I mean, Justin Clivert's 24, and Shane Clivert is 16, so there's like 8 years difference between the two of them. He has made his debut for us in the cup competition, in the Spanish Cup. Started the game, got a 6.60, was taken off after about 75 minutes, I think it was. So, yeah, we are giving debuts to a couple of our younger players, one of which, Hector Fort, has been playing a bit more regularly. He's got 4 to 5 star potential, 17 years old. He's made 4 starts, 1 sub-appearances, so 5 appearances, 1 goal, 1 assist at 6.90. He prefers to play on the right. We've played him predominantly on the left-hand side, but he does look a pretty decent player. So I'm keen to try and give him some more appearances. Already got a valuation of up to 45 million. The way of looking at it really is that someone like Marcos Alonso, I mean, Marcos Alonso wouldn't normally be our first choice out there. That would be Balde. But if someone like Balde wanted to leave, and we can bring in someone like Hector Fort as his replacement, obviously he needs to get a bit better, but we could get up to 70 million, maybe a bit more for Balde. I mean, Balde's only 20, so I'm not in a rush to move him on. This is pretty much our second string side that we've got out here. We do have our best 11, which would look a bit more like this, but obviously Vitor Roque would be up front. And yeah, we're having a really good season, a really good time. The finances, though, continue to be a massive concern. We're okay for our financial status. How, I don't know. But it's just crazy. It really is. Our debts and loans are starting to go down a little bit. Our transfer debt is now 47 million. Net debt 688. I mean, I've not looked at the projections, but I mean, looking at this, it actually says we're going to do better. So end of this season, it says we're going to be 131 million in debt. End of the 24-25 season, 85.63 million in debt. And the end of season 3, as it would be on this rebuild, will actually be £6.94 million in the black, in credit. So actually the projection looks really good. I thought it was going to be terrible. Going back to dynamics and the hierarchy, Only one player opposed me, that's João Cancelo. Previously, he didn't oppose me. It was Christensen that opposed me the last time I looked as the one player. But pretty much everybody has no opinion of me. They don't care. Nobody loves me, and only one player hates me. So I will take that for where we are at the moment. So we will move on. We will play through to the end of the season. I'll see you in part 3 for the end of season review and a little chat about what our plans are for the summer transfer special, which will obviously you'll see in next week's episode. And yeah, the question remains, can we win the Champions League? Can we win the Super Cup? And can we go invincible in the Spanish First Division? Season 1 completed, and we have a domestic and European double. We've won La Liga, finishing 8 points clear of Real Madrid, top of the table. We won the Champions League, beating Manchester City on penalties in the final. And we'll go through the schedule so you can see what the results were and things like that shortly. Runners up in the Spanish Cup, we lost to Valencia after extra time in that one, and obviously we were runners up in the Spanish Cup as well. So if we have a look at the schedule and just see what happened. So this is where you was with me last time, or where we left off last time. We played Vallecano. Again, we had another, like we did at the start of the season, where we had some really nice games and went on a really nice winning run at the start. We've done the same again here as well. Vallecano, we won 4-0 in that game. Goals from De Jong, Balde, Gundogan and Felix. Then Atletico Madrid 4-1 at home in the Spanish Cup quarter-final. Then we had Almeria in the league away from home. We won 1-0 with a very rotated. We rotated our team a lot during the course of this season, which goes to show how good this Barcelona squad is, let alone just the first team. Then we had Atletico Pamplona, and again, a very much rotated, well, it was the same rotated team from the previous game. We beat them 3-0. Fermin, Ferran Torres, Ilkay Gundogan with the goals in that game. Then we had, where are we on it? Then we had Rangers in the Champions League round of 16 first leg. We won that 3-1, but we did lose the second leg 3-2. Luckily, we had enough in the bank to just about get through 5-4 on aggregate. After the first leg against Rangers, we had Las Palmas. They had a player sent off in the 25th minute. We went on to win 2-0. Then it was a 4-0 win in the Spanish Cup semi-final first leg against Real Madrid. And I kind of feel they didn't take it quite as seriously as me. They still had like Vinicius Junior and Rodrigo in there, Modric, Valverde, Tchouaméni, Rudiger, Camavinga was playing at left back rather than midfield. And yeah, it just felt like with Nacho, Alaba, I mean, there's no Bellingham, for example. He wasn't in the squad, let alone the team. So it just felt like they didn't go like heavy rotation, but they did rotate some players out. We won that 4-0. Then we played Cadiz in the league at home, a 6-1 win against them. 2 for Rafinha, 1 for Yamal, 1 for De Jong, 1 for Gundogan and 1 for João Felix. Then Getafe, we won 1-0 with Ferran Torres goal. Then the Champions League semi-final, round of 16 second leg, that 3-2 defeat against Rangers. And as you can see from the team, we had Gundogan was suspended for that game, but we did go basically full strength other than that. Oh, and Christensen was in defence alongside Araujo as well. So yeah, only a couple of players changed really. And yeah, that was a surprising defeat. Then we played Granada and won 1-0. Then during this period, we kind of going through a little bit of a rocky patch because after Granada, we then played Real Madrid in the Spanish Cup semi-final second leg and we lost 2-0. Obviously, we had enough from the first leg, so we went through 4-2 on aggregate. Then came Girona away from home, a 2-2 draw in that game with goals from Gavi and Victor Roque. Then Alaves were up next, a 5-2 win at home against a very poor Alaves team. Pedri, Fermin, Vitor Roque, Ferran Torres and Frankie de Jong getting on the score sheet. And that, again, another heavily rotated side. Then we played Feyenoord in the Champions League quarter-final first leg, a 3-1 win in that game. We played Sevilla in the league after that with a 2-2 draw. And then the second leg against Feyenoord, we won 2-0, go through 5-1 on aggregate. We'd had a pretty kind draw up to this point. Our group wasn't overly difficult. Rangers and Feyenoord in the first 2 knockout rounds. We were living a charmed life. Then we played Valencia in the Spanish Cup final, losing 2-1 after extra time. The heartbreaking bit about this, Jorginho, an Arsenal player in real life, the guy that scored the goal that denied us the opportunity to be able to win the match. Then we played Real Madrid in the league, and this was so gutting because by this point I was starting to think we really had a chance of going the season unbeaten. Bearing in mind the teams we've got left to play in the league, I felt these were all winnable games, and indeed they did turn out to be that way. So I just felt if we could avoid defeat at home against Real Madrid, then we can go a whole league season unbeaten. I've never been a whole league season unbeaten in all the years I've been playing FM, and I got so excited by the fact that I thought we could do it, but then we lost 2-0 to Real Madrid, and my dreams were crushed. Then we had Bayern Munich in the Champions League semi-final first leg, a 2-0 win at home in that game, followed up by Real San Sebastian where we won 2-0 in the league. Bayern Munich were up next for the second leg of the semi-final against them. We won that 2-1, De Jong and Pedri with the goals in that game. And then it was win after win after win, not conceding goals. Villarreal 5-0, Vigo 2-0, Mallorca 7-0, João Felix getting a hat-trick, Yamal getting 2, Gundogan with a penalty and Ferran Torres getting a goal as well. Then it was 3-0 against Real Hispales, and then the Champions League final against Manchester City. We scored all 5 of our penalties. Haaland, De Bruyne, Alvarez scoring their first 3, but then missing the 4th. We win on penalties. It was a lovely, lovely feeling. The actual game itself was very tight. It was very close. Ilkay Gundogan getting a penalty for us in the 82nd minute. Alvarez equalising 2 minutes later. And yeah, looking at the stuff, I mean, possession was pretty much 50-50. They slightly edged it. Passes completed, I mean, 93% pass completion rate. That is phenomenal for Manchester City, that is. XG, we had the better of the XG, but it was the same amount of shots on target and very similar shots on goal. It was just a very close game all round. But we won it, and we won the Champions League. So what we'll also show you as well, before I forget, we go to the dev centre because we've had a youth intake. Basically, these are the players we've signed. This one here, meh. Basically, I just left it to my director of football to decide who to sign. These 4, they all have potential. This guy here, Jenna Villajoana, maybe. He's the most promising of the lot in terms of potential. There is a possibility these guys could have a future at the club. I doubt we're really going to see a great deal of them during the course of this rebuild, but it wasn't a bad intake. I'll say it was a good intake, as they promised it would be. Now, if we go to finances, we are £177.2 million in the red. That's with all the Champions League money coming in, by the way. We did originally have a transfer budget of £25 million given to us. For some reason, we've lost 8 million of that. But I did take a screenshot of the budgets when we first got them, just so I could show you that we did indeed have 25 million, because I know what the game's like. I know it likes to take transfer budget off you, especially when you're struggling for money. We do still only have 25% of the transfer revenue made available to us. So selling players is going to be quite tricky. We've got Cancelo and Felix that will be going back to their parent clubs at the end of this season. We have got a load of players that are going to be coming back from loan as well. Like I said previously, in the summer transfer window, pretty much anyone is available for sale. Like Marcos Alonso will be leaving on a free transfer, so that will be another player out of the squad. Our squad size at the moment is 24. 3 of them will definitely be going, so we will need to bring players in, but we will also look at the players that are coming back from loan as to whether any of those can come in as well. But basically, my objective is to get this wage budget that currently we've got down, the committed spend is 2.379 million. So getting that down even further will help a little bit towards our overall finance situation. But when you look at the debts and loans we've got, the fact we're paying £8.75 million a month to pay off our debts, I don't know how we're meant to fix things. I really don't. But we'll have a chat in part 1 of next week's video in terms of what the plan is for this. But I think what it probably is going to be is a case of selling and then seeing how much money we've actually managed to accumulate before then going out and buying players. So hopefully we can do some really good business next summer, and it will help with getting some transfer money in, but also with the bank balance if we can get some money in for that as well. So what we will do is we'll move over to the end of season review and have a look at that. Here we are then for the end of season review, and our 2 lovely little trophies on screen right now. Let's have a look at the new arrivals. There'll be no ratings for these because obviously we didn't bring them in, but João Felix has got 50 appearances he's made for us, 21 starts, 29 from the bench, 15 goals, 13 assists. He's actually been really, really good. If we can keep hold of him, I actually wouldn't be against that because, like I say, he has been sensational for us. 7.28 is his average rating. İlkay Gündoğan, 33-year-old world-class midfielder, 55 appearances, 12 goals, 7 assists at 7.10. A lot of those have been penalties, but still, he has put them away. João Cancelo from Manchester City, £1 million we paid as a loan fee for him, and that's 47 appearances, 4 goals, 8 assists at 6.99. That's on the non-attacking side of our wing-backs, the right-hand side. No, actually, yeah, no, he is the attacking wing-back on the right-hand side. Then we had Vitor Roque from ATP. We paid 34.5 million for him. He's made 42 appearances, scoring 17 goals, 5 assists at 6.92 for the 18-year-olds he was at times, now 19. We did have a message come through. He's 1 appearance away from triggering a clause in his contract that we would pay ATP an additional £4.5 million, which would then obviously take up to 39 million. So I didn't play him for the rest of the season. I won't play him again now until the transfer window's closed, because then whatever money we've got left over, fine, we'll then lose that. Ingo Martinez from Athletic Bilbao come in. Presumably that was on a free transfer. 13 appearances, 12 from the start. That there actually shows how often we've rotated our team, because he was basically the centre-back for our rotated team. So 12 appearances, 1 goal, no assists at 6.84. Mika Faye, 19-year-old centre-back, paid 1.3 million. He's made like 2 substitute appearances. He's rubbish. I'd be quite happy for him to go, in all honesty. Then we have the Season 2 Remember, and the expectation of all was win the league. Well, we did do that. 1 defeat, 8 draws, 29 wins. We actually scored 100 goals and conceded just 25. We were phenomenal. A goal difference of 75. 98% of the attendance was filled. Obviously, this is in our current stadium. We are moving into the newly revamped Camp Nou around Christmas, New Year time of this coming season. In terms of the Champions League, I mean, as you can see here, we had Lens, Dortmund, Eindhoven in our group. Then we had Rangers and Feyenoord in the first 2 knockout rounds. That's why I'm saying we had a pretty kind run to the semi-finals, and then comfortably swept aside by Munich, and then just about got the job done against Manchester City in the final. Vitor Roque with 5 goals was our top goal scorer. In the Spanish Cup, we had an easy first couple of rounds, then Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, and then we succumbed to Valencia in the final. João Felix, a top goal scorer in that one, and there's a Super Cup if you're interested in it. Pause it and have a look at it. Moments to remember, the biggest win was their 7-0 win against Mallorca. Match to remember was a 5-0 win against Villarreal. And the goal of the season was İlkay Gündoğan, a truly memorable goal from Barcelona central midfielder İlkay Gündoğan as he hits a powerful effort from 27 metres. I wish they would change that to yards, but I think that's just me being old. Then we get to the finances. I mean, wow, the finances. We're a 5-star reputation club. 190. There's nothing to go up or down really, because there's nothing to compare it against. But this is what we made in terms of revenue. We've made £197 million from our sponsorship, £58.19 million from broadcast revenue, 10.96 from corporate and hospitality, £99.73 million in competition prize money, and £2 million in match day commercial and retail. And we're £177 million overdrawn in our bank balance. Total merchandise sales was 31.47 million, with over 1 million shirt sales. Pedri, Gavi, Ferran, Gundogan and Rafinha selling most of the shirts for us. How we lined up, this is what they think is their first 11. Only Cancelo and Roque not getting in the greens. But to Stegen in goal, Balde, Cancelo, Koundé, Araujo, Gundogan, Gavi and De Jong, João Felix, Lamine Yamal and Vitor Roque. The only part of that I'd argue with is that Rafinha was our regular left winger or left inside forward. But looking at how João Felix played, you can't really argue with that, I suppose. A lot of awards and record breakers. We've won 3 Manager of the Month awards. In terms of record breakers, Rafinha's got the most assists by a player in a season on 14. Most clean sheets by a player in a season is Marc-Andre ter Stegen with 28 clean sheets. That's 28 clean sheets. That is an incredible amount of clean sheets. Most player of the match awards in the season, João Felix with 6. Worst discipline was Gundogan with 10 yellow cards but no red cards. I don't believe we had a single red card all season. Youngest goal scorer, Lamine Yamal, 16 years, 31 days. This boy is amazing, by the way. He is just so good. I know I'm pointing out the obvious. That's not a hot take or anything. But 16 years old, if you look at this, in the league alone, 27 appearances, 11 goals, 11 assists at 7.49. Overall for the season, he was 13 goals and 13 assists. He has had a phenomenal season. If you're looking for a short-term save until the end of FM24, just do Barcelona purely for Lamine Yamal. He will bring you so much pleasure. Fans player of the season is Lamine Yamal. Young player of the season is Lamine Yamal. The goal of the season was Gundogan. Top goal scorer Vitor Roque with his 17 goals. Most assists is Rafinha with 14. Most player of the match was Lamine Yamal. Highest average rating, João Felix with a 7.3. And most passes completed per 90 minutes was Ronald Araujo with 81 passes completed per 90 minutes. That is quite exceptional as well. Looking at our history in the making screen, Barcelona come along better than anyone would have expected and carried that mid-season form all the way to the title win. Beginning and end of season form was pretty spectacular as well. Barcelona took a little while to get going. I don't know where that's come from Yossi Halfan of goal. I'm not even going to bother reading the rest of that. We started off phenomenally. Manager timeline is what the manager timeline is. In terms of supporter profile, that's what that looks like. It looks pretty much the same as what it was before. The board are delighted about becoming the most reputable team in Europe. I'm pleased for them. They seem quite happy with this as well. We'll accept the current vision. The squad dynamics, managerial support is good. Dressing room atmosphere is absolutely phenomenal. If we actually have a look at the dynamics, is there anyone that opposes me? No, there is not. And I've actually got 6 players that love me. Gundogan, Felix, Martinez, Yamal, I don't know why he likes me. Vitor Roque, all love me, and I love that as well. Shame Felix is going to be leaving, potentially, unless we can strike a deal. Right, back to here. End of season team meeting. They're going to want us to win the league again next season. First division aims. Go away, get yourselves fully rested because we're going to go again next season. That's probably the easiest meeting I've ever had to attend. Then the new season team report. Injuries, they calmed down a lot from what they were right at the very beginning. Where shall we go on our... Oh, there's quite a few. Do we go to England? I think we're going to go to Portugal. Gives ourselves a bit of sunshine. Let's go to Portugal. And there you go. Marcos Alonso is wanted as well. In terms of players that are getting interest from other clubs, Araujo, people are taking a look at him. Same with Gundogan, Frankie de Jong, Rafinha. We've had rumours circulating about him as well. Marco Alonso's leaving anyway. Torres was being linked with clubs in the Premier League. And yeah, I think that's probably about it in terms of the rumours that have been circulating about our players. So yeah, that's where we are. This is where we are with our finances. Just as a reminder, I'm expecting the next episode will not be quite as easy going as what this one's been, because this has been a very easy season and I've loved it, to be quite honest. But the hard work begins now, because we need to get players out. We need to get players in. Our wage structure is ridiculous. We've got players on £230,000 a week. I'm kind of thinking we go with the younger model, bringing in young players fairly cheap that are not going to want much money, so we can actually make net profits on transfers as well as wages. So yeah, that will all be in next week's episode. Thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week for season 2. Bye.